Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Paul's Bent Perspective. My name is Paul. I'm 53. I live in Louisville, Kentucky. I have cerebral palsy. I have Crohn's disease. I've lived a rather interesting life, and this is going to be a series of videos on whatever topic I feel like talking about. So, thanks for stopping by and tuning in. Hope you enjoy what I've got to talk about. Please feel free to leave comments in the comment section. Look forward to some lively debate. Please let me know what you like, what you don't like, and all that good stuff. I appreciate it. So today's topic, it's a topic I think's probably been on a lot of people's minds lately, and that is gun violence. I graduated high school in 1988. So you got to figure out I went through elementary school and middle school in the 70s and 80s. Back then, we simply just did not have anything resembling the kind of gun violence that kids who go to school every day face now. So I have zero point of reference to draw from as far as what today's students face when they go to school. It's completely insane to me, the things that children are having to do when they go to school now, as far as learning how to apply tourniquets and having these bucket kits in case they get stuck in the room and have to cover up dead bodies and go to the bathroom in a bucket, and active shooter drills. It's just, I can't. Now, a little bit of background. Living in Louisville, Kentucky, I grew up around guns. I carry a gun. I know how to use a gun. I have shot just about every type of gun you can possibly think of. I know several people that have extensive gun collections. I've been actively shooting firearms both to learn how to use for self-defense and for enjoyment since I was 5 and 6 years old. So I've always had a respect for firearms. I've always been taught proper firearm safety, proper gun usage, gun maintenance, trigger safety, the whole 9 yards as far as respect for guns and proper gun responsibility. I feel like I am a responsible gun owner, and so's every person that I ever grew up around. Sadly, as we well know, that cannot be said for every current gun owner. And therein, I think, lies the problem. That, and when I was coming up in school, I mentioned we didn't have a gun problem. That's because back in our day, and I can't believe I just said that, I'm definitely old now, I said back in my day, if you pulled a knife, or heaven forbid a gun, to settle a fight, you were considered weak. That was considered the ultimate in dishonor. That was considered the ultimate in cowardice. It was just not done. If you couldn't settle the fight with your fist, you either stood there and took your butt whooping, or you took your butt on somewhere and you lost the argument. There was no going and getting a gun and coming back and shooting somebody or pulling out a knife and stabbing people. Now, we did have people that pulled out knives and tried to cut people, and trust me, you got a reputation as being a punk real quick, and you were ostracized, you were ridiculed. It was not, oh, he's bad, he's tough. No, that was not done, And also, when I was in high school, I can't tell you the number of people who drove to school that were driving their mom and dad's pickup truck or their car, and in the glove box of that car or in the gun rack of that truck, there was a pistol or a rifle or a shotgun. And we had the same types of struggles and the same types of issues that kids deal with at school today. We had bullying. We had people who got their heart broken. We had people who didn't like teachers. We had all the same types of things that kids get upset about today. But we simply just did not have instances where people walked out to the parking lot and got the gun out of the glove box or got the gun out of the truck and came back in and shot everybody. We just didn't do that. So I think a good place to start as far as a solution to gun violence, because I'm not just on here to preach, I'm hoping to find some solutions here, would be to try and find out what changed in our attitudes and the way we live between back then, when it was considered cowardice to automatically use a gun to settle your problem, to now where every other day we're reading where somebody got their feelings hurt at work because they got fired, or somebody didn't want to date them, or somebody cut them off in traffic or whatever, and they've come back and they've either killed a person or they've killed dozens of people. this is not acceptable human behavior. And to keep just worrying about, how many guns, that discussion's been done ad nauseum, and the genie's out of the bottle. I remarked to a friend of mine when the pandemic first hit and the closures hit, and we were at a sporting goods store, and I noted how many people were there buying guns. I said, after this is all over and things open back up, gun violence is going to go off the charts. And they were like, why do you say that? And I said, because you're witnessing right here, and I can't imagine how bad it is everywhere else, a whole lot of people who have no business owning a gun. And he said, what are you talking about? First Amendment and blah, 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 or Second Amendment and all that. And I said, no. Second Amendment, no, that's, I get that. But people talk about the Second Amendment as in we need our guns and then it should not be infringed because we might need to stand up against the government. Well, when the Constitution was written, that might have been true because the average citizen and the military were carrying the same gun, except for cannons. And even back in the Revolutionary War time and around 1776, under certain circumstances, even a private citizen could own a cannon. So, but things are different now. I know people who have arsenals in their basement, in their bedroom, who have, more rounds of ammunition than they can ever shoot. But I'm sorry to them or to anyone else in this country who has a similar setup. If you think you and your AK-47 or your AR-15 or your 30-06 or your 30-30 or your 9mm Glock or whatever it is you have, if you really think you're going to last longer than 5 minutes against the U.S. military, you are living in a fantasy world. And ladies and gentlemen, if you do not think that the fact that we have so many people running around the world right now that think that because somebody cut them off in traffic, or because somebody got rude with them in a grocery line, or because somebody turned around in their driveway, or because somebody was door dashing, or because somebody stopped to ask directions, that it's okay to shoot them. If you don't think that we need to re-examine people's right to bear arms in this country, again, you are delusional. Because just like we don't let everybody drive a car, we need to not let everybody have a gun. Come at me in the comments, please. Please come at me. Because like I said, the biggest argument for it shall not be infringed is defense against tyranny. I got news for you. There is not a single weapon available to the public at large right now that is going to last longer than 5 minutes against the U.S. military. So if you're okay with not letting certain people drive a car because of a mental disability or a physical disability or because of past history of using alcohol or whatever, if you're okay with that right being infringed and the irresponsible use of an automobile being curtailed, but you're going to try and scream constitutional law over gun control, you need to STFU, because that's just ridiculous. And we need to have some serious discussion about what constitutes people losing their right to bear arms, because no, not everyone should be allowed to carry a gun. Period. End of story. I said what I said as someone who carries a gun. Sorry, not sorry. Let's talk.